All right. Aloha, everybody. Thank you for coming to our session here as we're talking about Pu'uhonua. My name is Cordy. I am a facilitator with Maui Family Support Services, a parent support specialist under the Kāne Connections program. We're just going to go through some introductions. We have Sam. So Sam, you want to introduce yourself?
Aloha, everyone. My name is Samuel Holy. I am also a parent support specialist from Maui Family Support Services. Welcome.
Then we also have Casey. Casey is our wonderful moderator. Casey?
Hi, everybody. I'm Casey. I work with Imua Family Services. I'll be the moderator for today. So it's up to you folks if you feel comfortable using your cameras, or if not, you can turn them off. Well, I'll still go ahead. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat and I'll try to catch them and pause so that they can answer your questions.
So we're gonna go into a poll. We just want to get to know you folks a little bit more. Casey's gonna bring up a poll. If you could fill that out, just asking, where you from, what type of background, mommy, being a mother, what type of work you do. That way we can just kind of get to know you folks a little bit better. We're here just to share our ike, what we know, what we've experienced pertaining to Pu'uhonua, but also to create a space that we can share and learn from one another in this time together. Okay. Uncle Sam, are you able to see the poll as well?
I am.
Okay. Right on. Okay, awesome. A lot of individuals from Maui. Some from Molokai. That's exciting. We've been going over to Molokai for some outreaches. Okay, so when you folks, you guys can come off of mute if you want. Uncle Sam and I work together on the same team, and we do a lot of groups, and it's a lot of interaction. So I think a question we wanted to ask is, when you hear Pu'uhonua, what resonates with you folks? Or if you want to put it in the chat, we can do that. But we really want to hear from you and have this open dialogue.
So, hi.
Hi.
How are you? It's nice to
Good.
see you. I'm so glad you're working over there. I don't think you remember me, but that's okay. Yeah, okay, hi. So it makes me think of a place of safety. So like working at Malama makes me think that that is a place of safety. And I want that to be a Pu'uhonua for the women and children that we serve. So something like that.
Awesome. Thank you.
This is Michelle. Hi, Sam. So what resonates with me is a place, a safe for healing. For healing.
Mahalo. Thank you. Thank you. In the chat, a safe where I can be a place where I can be myself and thrive, a safe haven. So mahalo. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to be honest with you folks and transparent. Uncle Sam and I are recovering. We both got ma'i yesterday. We were both sick. So we are here because we want to be here. And we really appreciate you folks joining us as we talk about and share what we know as a Pu'uhonua in our own personal lives, but as well as just from the readings and just the experience that we've experienced, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Share my screen. And please feel free to interrupt me if you have questions. Uncle Sam, please feel free to jump in as we go through our presentation.
For sure.
All right. Kalamai, I'm hoping my my internet connection is as well. Okay, so Pu'uhonua. Pu'u is like having a hill or a mound. Honua is a place. And so a Pu'uhonua is a place of refuge. It is a sanctuary, a place of peace and safety, especially in the time of war. And so when we look in our Hawaiian culture, there was physical war. And we want to look at, now in 2022, there's a lot of different other types of war an individual can experience through life. A Pu'uhonua is a sanctuary that provided people with an opportunity to be forgiven, to be healed, and to be given a second chance to life itself. Okay. Who went there? Who went there? The wounded and defeated warriors, individuals who broke laws, fearfully fleeing death, individuals mentally and emotionally ill, spiritually oppressed individuals, men and displaced women and children who were seeking a refuge from those times. And so for myself as a single mom, I can experience a lot of these on a day-to-day basis. And the intention here is to show the importance and the impact that we as individuals working within our community, within our Ohana, when we understand and we take on these characteristics of being a Pu'uhonua for another person, we can be that healer for them. Being a single mom, I go through the daily battles of mental and emotional illness, whether it be from, am I good enough? Am I doing a good job? If I'm working too much and not spending enough time with my daughter, these are the different types of things that I go through as an individual. And I have my Pu'uhonua that I go to, whether it be counseling, my safe haven at church, etc. So people like us or like me, wounded and defeated through emotionally, mentally, spiritually, those are the individuals that went to these Pu'uhonuas. How did they get there? Some individuals, they ran for days and for weeks, before never have roads. So they'd be running barefooted with, wounds, cuts, dehydrated, but they had the determination to get to the Pu'uhonua. They would travel for miles on foot. And they would come to a cliff's end and they would have to swim, putting themselves into environmental dangers like sharks, getting pounded against the cliffs. Some other challenges that they went through was also battling mentally, of giving up in life or choosing to persevere and keep going. And then as soon as they got to a Pu'uhonua, they were greeted with aloha. Aloha by someone they didn't know, aloha by a stranger. And so when I think of that, a lot of times with the families that we serve, they don't know us, they don't know us. And forgive me because I want to cry right now, because it's really important to really breathe life into them and create a safe place. And how do we do that? And that's what my heart is right now. It's just to share and encourage, when we can practice showing kindness and gentleness through our words, through giving them a high five, a hug, we're practicing aloha. And I've been in a place where, I had a lot of walls up with trusting individuals, and it took time. It took persistence. It took ho'ohiki, following through on the promises that people give us. So an individual seeking this refuge, this safe place, whether it be our children coming to us from school, whether it be a client that we have coming into a doctor's office, they're seeking something, they're seeking help, they're seeking healing. On the opposite end was aloha given, by a complete stranger. The moment that they got into a Pu'uhonua, they were also greeted by a spiritual priest, and they're absolved, or given forgiveness for everything that they did wrong in the past. And after that was the process, the rehabilitation and restoration process of first the physical body. So they were nourished by food, they're nourished by water. If they had wounds, they were healed and taken care of. However, the real recovery within a Pu'uhonua was the mental recovery. Spiritual transformation then took place, and they went through this process over a period of a couple of days. They're in there receiving these healings and really being brought back to a place of being whole again. Being whole again to the point where when they left the same way they went in. But when they left with a sense of purpose, sense of knowing their identity, their purpose, and their potential that they can have in their life through the process of the healing of a Pu'uhonua. Uncle Sam, did you want to jump in on any of these?
So it brings, thank you, Cordy. Awesome. It brings up to thought that now, being forgiven, being healed, mentally sound. What do we do different now? How do we go about sharing these assets now that we have and have absorbed and worked so hard to change our lives to bring it to our own base of Pu'uhonua, like our own home, within our own selves, to carry to others, because it's we're for me myself, I work with a lot of men, struggling men, coming out of addiction and coming out of incarceration, many of them, and they always get they got up. They always know, like, oh, I know how I get them. I know how to do this, but it's the understanding for me myself when I greet them. It's like Hawaiian brothers, no matter color, race, creed. It's like everyone needs a hand, and everyone needs to know that it's possible to accept these hands, because basically we've done it alone for so long. Now that the healing has come upon us, what do we do with it to exert it into our own lives and into our own community? Good, Cord.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you for everybody in the chat. So we really want to share our story. Uncle Sam, I think you're up first.
All right.
Share our story and really just look at the concept of a Pu'uhonua, and how having a safe place, whether it be from a person, environment, getting connected to support systems, like how we are all providing to our community, on how it can be transformative to one's personal life, and in doing so, inspire those individuals to also be that Pu'uhonua for their Ohana, and for their community, their circle of influence. The truth is, we all have aloha in us, and we all can perpetuate the aloha to those around us, and we all can also be, if you're not already, a Pu'uhonua for those around you. So that's what our heart is. So Uncle Sam, I'm going to share the screen of his before his transformation and to where he's at, and he can give you his story. Okay.
So I just came off the one of the other sessions that was building a foundation of aloha. That was so like inspiring. It gave me a whole different mindset. It kind of clouded on all the things that I wanted to share earlier and stuff like that on this program. But it's still falling in a place of self-reliance and self-care and healing with help from others. So the first two pictures I have, on the left is when I was growing up in some of my addiction and incarceration. I've been in addiction since I was at the age of 7, and growing up in the life of this type of life for so long that that's the only way I knew. along with criminal activity and stuff like that. I never really got into my culture because my biological role model was taken away from me at the age of 5. So starting so early, having to be the provider, protector, and so forth for my family, that these are the only ways that I knew how at the time. So being in incarceration for over 20 plus years, in addiction for 42 years, that it gave me a stigma of I no good. That's some pilau guy, the guy he pilau, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And no can trust him, you know can trust this guy. And one of my breaking points was one of my last incarceration when my second 2-year-old daughter was giving birth, and when she gave birth, she asked me that, that you come up to the hospital and see your granddaughter. And I said, yeah, I'll be there. Well, I was there like days later. But when I did reach, I had the opportunity to hold her. Well, my daughter was strong enough to tell me at the time that I'm sorry that if you're going to stay in your addiction and continue incarceration, it's probably going to be the last time you see your granddaughter. And that took a toll on me. That actually, because I was looking forward to it. This is our first granddaughter, first baby, grandbaby and stuff like that. And it was really, really hard to accept. And especially being in closed mind, of whatever, you know what I mean? I went ahead and started my last incarceration with the acceptance of, okay, I'm gonna do 10 more years then. That's it. But in my own journey and my own travels, I the God of my understanding and people around me kind of looked into it and made me an offer onto changing my life, and if I was willing to do it. So the transformation from incarceration, I got into a kumuhula, Debbie Kamai, and she brought in the aspect of changing the way I was thinking, and helping me to look at things in a broader pattern to where I stopped thinking selfishly and more selflessly. As I continue to dance in her halau with her and a few of my inmate brothers, that it came to be a process of understanding that not only that she was showing her care and kindness, but also teaching me of being able to share it with others that struggle. Maybe incarceration, maybe in depression, maybe in addiction, that it has to stop somewhere. And when these opportunities came about to gain more knowledge in areas that I was unfamiliar with, and trust was a big factor. I never trust nobody because nobody trusted me. But as I continue to participate in programs that made a difference to me and in my life and my thought of thinking, I came to be today a person of refuge, I feel, because men I support, men that I work with, people in my community has come to understand that if, I may not know all your problems and I may not have all the answers, but I tell you what, today I'm a good listener. And as I continue to strive and pay attention to the people around me, the mental health, it's giving me the essence of doing it in my own household. Because why I say that is because now I have along with grandkids, 8 of them right now, along with my 2 youngest kids, which is 11 and 15. teenagers and coming to be teen, they struggle with a lot of stuff that goes on in our community, that social media, what others go through, how their friends relate to them, how the society relate to them. And today I open my doors to them to have them understand that if they need someone to talk to, that I am a good listener, but also I don't try to control their lives. I don't try to solve their problems. I work with them to analyze what their thoughts are, how they got there, and how they can get themselves out. Because only with those thoughts and not having to breathe down their neck and telling them what to do, will they feel comfortable in bringing these types of situations to me personally without having to be asked. And that's part of my Pu'uhonua for my household, because now the relationship we have is even stronger, because instead of asking them, hey, how was school today? And you know the answer you're going to get there. Good. Hey, how was school today? Oh, good. No. Today I asked, how was lunch today? What was for lunch today? So we can open a discussion of, that was in your day? Awesome. This is what you're working on? Perfect. So being open-minded and willing to open myself and be vulnerable for them to be vulnerable, they see the safety and comfort in it. In one of the discussions today that I was listening to, it was like it was said that, you know, our God is our provider, our Kapuna is our who inspires us, and our Ohana is who cares for us. And that is the basis of a perfect Pu'uhonua, because that's where we all bonded to. For me anyway, along with having the best support from my agency that I work for, from the men in my community and the men I strive to help, that these are the only way it's possible to continue the safe haven for not only my family, but for everyone who understands that if they need help, they can come to me. And I had to open myself up and mindset to be acceptance of that, but to be a listener and not a solution solver, you know. So that is pretty much most of my story in a nutshell. But you know, believing in Pu'uhonua and allowing myself to be part of it and be seen as one of those in a place of safe haven and somewhere to come for comfort, empathy, and understanding, then my life has changed 180 degrees from where I was. Thank you guys all for listening. That's my story. Aloha.
Awesome. Does anybody have any feedback you want to share? Okay. So here's me. This is Cordy. And I might get a little teary-eyed, but I'm just gonna, be transparent. And when I was about 5 years old, I was molested as a child. And that kind of started a lot of my unhealthy behaviors, and I've experienced drug use firsthand within my family, within our own home, improper, things that was said to me, done to me from male figures. And so a lot of times I didn't feel safe around them. Nor did I trust them. I always had this thought that they had the wrong intentions for me. I was filled with a lot of deceit, as a young girl. And it wasn't until 2017 where I was at my wit's end, where I was broken, busted, and disgusted as an individual, as a woman, a young woman. And so, like how we had shared on the broken people the wounded warriors, the mothers and children that sought a refuge, sought a place to go to just be healed emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. That was me, you know, and I needed that Pu'uhonua, and I found it. I found it in my church community. That's where it started. I reconnected with my God, reestablished a relationship through that. And the transformation process, you know, I really believe that we're always in transformation. We're always in a growing phase in our lives. And there's a lot of healing that took place there for me. But it didn't just happen. It took time. It took persistence. It took the willingness to try to trust again. And it was only in that Pu'uhonua where I could fully receive a deliverance from drug addictions, a healing of my mental and emotional state of feeling unworthy, feeling like I have a no sense of life or no sense of purpose, and be restored again, and be restored again. And today, you know, I know this is a little short, but today I have such a greater sense of purpose to answer the kahea on my life, the call on my life. It was through having a Pu'uhonua and continuing to be in a Pu'uhonua, and connected, you know, with my social connections. I understand my kuleana, my responsibility, my kulana, yeah, and my kaulana in my life. Why I'm here, you know, what's my purpose and the legacy that I want to leave behind. And the legacy is to be that Pu'uhonua for others, to share love, to embark on a journey of sharing my story, because I know that everyone has a story, and the importance of sharing our stories with the individuals that we come in contact with is really important, because it reminds them that they're not the only one in the battle. They're not the only boat in the water. And like I said, it's a process and it's an ongoing journey. Now, as a mom, as a single mom, I still have those challenges every day. You know, am I doing enough? Am I raising her up in the right way? Could I be doing something better? And I always fall back to my principles of reminding myself who I am, you know, reminding myself why I'm here. And it's always having that Pu'uhonua that really helps me to be all that I can be as a woman, as an employee, as a daughter, as a sister, as a mom, as a auntie, for the community and for those around me. So I think that's kind of all I have to share. So I'm gonna unshare the screen. And we can kind of open up the discussion. So if anybody wants to have any questions or want to talk, I think a couple questions that we have for you, just to ponder and we can process it together is, you know, as an adult or even as a child, who or what was your Pu'uhonua? Who or what was your Pu'uhonua? And why did you go to that place? Why did you go to that individual? So if you want to put it in the chat, Anita said her grandmother, she came every day to care for me. An older sister. Mom, grandma. Awesome. And so when you think about this individual, what are some of the characteristics. Yeah. So what are some of the characteristics? Why did you go? And what are some of the characteristics that made you want to go to this individual, to this place where you felt safe? Nurturing, went to dad's holiday, acceptance, unconditional love, no judgment, kindness, love. That's awesome. So the reason why we wanted to is we wanted to just stir some emotions up in us, in everyone here, of how it made you feel. And the purpose or the intent behind it is those emotions, those feelings that we feel of why we go to this individual, how it made us feel, is the same feelings and emotions that we can operate in when we're encountering other people, when we're creating that safe place, whether it be even conversation. And I find as I talk about my story that when we are transparent, you know, when we go to the doctor, sometimes I have this wall up like, okay, I only can tell the doctor so much because I don't know what the doctor knows. And so I find that there's freedom in being transparent. You know, I used to be a home visitor, talking to the families like, hey, I went through this, you know, and sharing with them that the journey you're going through, you're not the only one. I went through that or something similar. And so that's why we want to stir up the feelings and emotions that you folks receive or have within you as we think about the Pu'uhonua that you folks had in your own personal life or still have in your personal life. And how did that person make you feel? Uncle Sam, you're free to jump in.
You know, there's a lot of love, unconditional love. You know, believed in me, made me feel special, vulnerable, no judgment, safety, security, and these are perfect stuff to understand because with these feelings, we feel obligated to like just let everything out. You know, you just drop the bomb, and let them know this one happened, that one happened, and as we start to relieve these things, the feeling that comes over after is like, oh, my auntie would listen. Oh, my grandma, she's always there, and I appreciate all these things. Now that it's our turn, how do we go about allowing our keikis or mo'opunas come up to us and allow them to share their struggles? Are we as open as our grandparents or aunts or mom, family members or friends or whoever you went to? Are you as open to your own family, individuals, to allow them to come into your life and share how they feel? Any thoughts?
I'll share. I think it depends on where I am in my day.
Sure.
And how much I've been taking care of myself. Sometimes with the work I do, I get really tired and I just need to kind of like tuck in. And so maybe I'm not as good of a listener. So Sam, I really appreciated when you said the way that you listen now. I'm going to take that home with me tonight because I think sometimes maybe I'm not the best listener. You know, I try, but I'm human.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I like that, Lisa, because you just reminded me of, you know, even in the workplace, wherever we go, and we're here and we all encounter and we're talking to people and sometimes unknowingly or even knowingly, we can take on that vicarious trauma. We can take on the compassion fatigue. And I really appreciate the agency we work for, Maui Family Support Services, on how we can gather together to process, you know, and that's important to have that safe place, because not a lot of places do have that. to process how are you feeling after this situation, what's really, really going on. And that's super important for us to continue to move forward, in what we're doing in our community. So even it can go into the workplaces of creating that safe place between supervisor employee or CEO employee, to just be able to converse on a personal level, so that we grow as individuals as we're hooing together to carry out this great work that we're doing. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Michelle.
I thank you guys can you guys hear me?
Yes.
For sharing. I think it's also important to know our own limits and how much space we can hold for others. I really appreciate that I can, in my work, I'm able to set my own boundaries. But when I reach my limit, because we can only hold so much, yeah, to be able to step away and have that time to breathe. For us, the breath work, yeah, the alo and the ha is so important, but to have somebody to be able to do that with. But to me, that is also a safety net where we know our limits, and being able to step away when we are no longer serving our client. If we're just taking up space because we get 2 more hours on the clock, yeah, then that's like doing a disservice to the population that we serve. So just knowing our own personal and professional limits too, and having that support from those around us, those above us, that we can all work together to kind of hold each other up as we holding the people that we serve up in the work that we do. And I also want to say it takes much courage to share, at the level that you guys did. So I really appreciate that, because it's a reminder of why we all do what we do. So mahalo to you both for sharing it at such a deep level.
Yes,
Thanks,
mahalo.
Michelle.
Yeah, mahalo. You folks too are awesome. But I was thinking about love unconditionally, especially with my children. It comes with tough love. That's unconditional. When you have rules in your house and it's not being kept up, and comes with tough love at times, but still I love my children unconditionally. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Titan. Paul?
Yeah, I sort of touching on, I think we're all in this field, and a lot of us have come. Thank you for sharing your stories from some rough journeys ourselves, but knowing our limits, we are faced with trauma all day long. It can trigger us sometimes of our past, and there's a lot of times that I go home and I just have to say, you know what, I have to communicate to the people that are in my safe space. I'm not in a good space, and they know it, and they give me the space to start like healing. But I also just shut off my phone, because I'm of no purpose in that space to anyone at that time. And I think that's something we all have to recognize in ourselves, that we do have limits, sort of touching on Michelle and Lisa was touching on a little bit. And we need to know that if we're not going to be of service, we have to start our own little healing from whatever it was throughout that day, because unfortunately in this business, we are faced with trauma constantly.
Thanks, Paul. Awesome. As a question comes up to mind in partially of healing for our own selves. How many of you, or when was the last time any of you has gone to the ocean for cleansing? This, in the ancient times, was all the time.
Actually, me never. After I saw the show Jaws, I'm not going in that water.
It's still in the show, Andy. It's still in the show. You don't gotta go all the way out. But yeah, is that a question to ask yourself? because that was one of our major senses back in the ancient days of holomuing ourselves, pu'uhonua ourselves, of cleansing, going to the ocean, breathing, rinsing all the opala off, getting revived, and then coming back out with a fresh sense of mind and thought and spirit.
Mm.
Nice. There you go. As often as possible. Correct. And it's just in the time of you feeling yourself, your needs. Because you can go to the beach with your kids and grandkids and just float around and have fun. But this is different. This is your personal time. This is your personal self you're dealing with. Yeah. And we need to remember these things are conscious for us to do, basically, so we can feel relieved of all the opala, all the stress, all the weight on our shoulders that we carry in and out of our work. For me, and I hope it's not disclosed or anything like that, it's really awesome for me, for the men I work with, because I allow them to call me anytime, because that's what they need. I mean, if that's what they need somebody who they can call at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, you know what, I'm not feeling good, I still thinking wrong. Okay, tell you what, let's talk. I'm here to listen. Or they call me 6:30 in the morning and say, hey, Sam, you know what, I was just thinking of having a drink. And I'm like, whoa, tell you what, where you at? I'm up early enough and I'm coming. Let's go get some pancakes and some coffee. You know what I mean? So yeah, I put myself out there, but basically the way I think, nobody did them for me. I had nobody like that. These guys, and they look forward to these things. And when I give them my number, I don't give them like, hey, Nana, just call me anytime. No, I give them like, please call me. Anything, please. You know what I mean? Feel free and feel obligated, because that's what a person I've come to be today. And knowing that, oh yeah, all right, I will. And I have had men call me at times of need, but it's my inside that just lights up and say, whoa, all right, put on the shirt and get out there and do what I say that I going to do. Because as long as I follow through and help them through their situations, then they know I'm accountable. I'm reliable. I'm not blowing smoke up their skirt and stuff like that. So I feel in the end of those situations, okay, now we're getting somewhere. You know, now they feel, oh, I can trust this guy. Or now they feel like, oh, I can call him. Oh, I can rely on, I'll call on him. And it's the greatest feeling ever, for me anyway. I am new to the agency. I am new to doing this differently in my life, but tell you what, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a new journey for both Uncle Sam and I. So we really appreciate you folks being here. I'm gonna be honest, we never present, well, at least I've never presented on this level before. So I just being transparent, and I mahalo you folks for all being here. A couple of things I did want to share is what we do. We work with Maui Family Support Services under the Kāne Connections program. And so we have 2 groups under that, which is Kamalama Parenting through Hawaiian Values. It's about a 3-month course. And we look at about 21 different Hawaiian values, and we look at it through the cultural perspective. And then we also look through a parenting perspective and go a little bit deeper to look at the essence of aloha, or look at the essence of malama, or of a'oi kaika, discipline, and present these values to families so that they can grasp onto and make and practice in their ohana. And then Uncle Sam, along with our other 2 team members, they run men's groups. So it's a 24/7 dad curriculum, and it's structured for fathering. They don't have to be a dad quite yet. They can be a father, they can be a grandfather. So it's really an open door for individuals to come and to learn the Hawaiian values, to strengthen their fathering skills, for their ohana. So yeah, I kind of think that might it. We might end a little bit early, but if does anybody have any questions? Want to talk about anything?
You guys were just totally amazing. Like, I'm so grateful you're out there. Thank you so much.
Wait, who? I'm trying to look at who's talking.
That's
Sorry.
Lisa. It's Lisa.
Oh,
The
Lisa.
talkative one. Yes. Yeah. And I can't believe you've never done this before. Both of you were so amazing. I thought you did this all the time. Thank you.
I'm like, I'm dripping of sweat right now.
Can't tell. Don't tell anybody. Shh. Cannot tell. Look great.
Good job, Cordy and Sam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Proud of you, Sam.
Love you. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you both for doing this for Ikaika. Really appreciate you both.
Thank
Truly
you.
inspiring.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Oh, I think someone in the chat asked if you can share the name of the Fathers Program again.
Oh yes.
The name of the Fathers Program is Kāne Connection. It's a Huikani men's group, and it's on Monday evenings from 6 to 8 and Thursday mid-morning from 9 to 11.
I'm gonna add on there. I'm gonna put my phone number so that we can connect personally. 574. And we can kuka, we can talk stories about getting connected more.
I wanted to thank Adele and her team over there at working with you guys, because it sounds like it's a very safe space. And I know from experience working with Adele on another grant that it is very nice to have, as a community, people we can share with also, right? So whether that be Paul, Michelle, for me, reaching out for Adele, and us working together and creating a community kind of Pu'uhonua with all of us together, right? Which is kind of, I guess, Ho'oikaika, right? That's kind of what they're doing here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I even think about what's resonating with me right now is, you know, when I was in the home visiting field, a lot of times when we would call, they would automatically have walls up just because of past trauma. And so when I think about that, like sharing, you know, how can we get onto a more of a personal level with these individuals in the community, like the mothers and the fathers, to ensure them that we're for you, you know, we're not trying to take your child away, or we're not trying to say you're a bad parent, but we're just here trying to support you. And that's a constant barrier I think we all face. And so with, you know, with the value of looking at Pu'uhonua and the characteristics and how it's made us feel as an individual, when we had our safe place to go, we can take that and try to cultivate that for others. Yeah.
No, you guys are amazing. And the training you had on Saturday that I did a segment of it for you guys, you know, when we serve people, we need to serve the entire people, you know. That was the purpose of Ho'oikaika, to make sure that whatever agency was meeting what need knew where to go for the other needs. And you know, the young man that had his boy almost lose his life, you know, to watch that little boy run into that playroom and feel that safe space. And for the dad, trust, you were just talking, Cordy, trust is a big thing with our local community. And you know, he didn't trust Kāne Connection. He didn't, you know, but now that he's connected to everything, he's just, you know, what's next? What else, you know? So it's amazing. And MFS, you guys are just constantly thriving and growing and asking the question, what's next? Right? And reaching out to, and reaching out to the other agencies to make sure that you're meeting every need of the individuals you're serving. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Mahalo, Tom. I'm Paul, sorry.
Thank you.
Mahalo for that. And it was nice seeing you the other day.